Alright guys, welcome back to another video with Sports with Schu. I'm just going to be doing a quick 3-round Chargers mock draft just to get some of my initial thoughts out there of what I've been seeing. It is the day after the Senior Bowl finished, so I kind of have some initial impressions from that. I haven't looked multiple times or a lot at all the one-on-ones and the drills and stuff, but I've still gotten to see the highlights in the first couple rounds of one-on-ones from the Senior Bowl, so this is still pre-combine and all that, but we have some of the arm measurements, more official heights and weights and stuff like that. But this is kind of just to get my initial opinions and thoughts out there, so let's hop into a PFF mock draft. It didn't ask me the settings that it wanted me to use. No, I do not want to use the defaults. Actually, here we go. So these are the settings that I tend to use slightly more towards public than PFF. Obviously, just because that's going to be a more general consensus, is more accurate of actually what will happen. Probably not what should happen, but what does end up happening. Care for positional need. I mean, modern day NFL still not with the whole positions of needs, running backs, linebackers, D tackles, guards, things like that, draft for need, randomness. I like doing less random just because if you put it all the way up, you get like, I don't know, George Karlaftis going number 1, which isn't absurd, but also kind of absurd. So let's hop into this one and we can start it. I really don't see the Chargers trading up at any point. I would be happy if one of the few blue chip prospects, which there's really only, I want to say about maybe 4 or 5 in this round or in this draft. If any of those drop to 17, obviously I'd be thrilled. But just the way that the Chargers are built right now, I really don't think it would be wise for us to move up. So we can just see how this shakes out. Aiden Hutchinson at 1, Kayvon Thibodeau, Derek Stingley at 3, Kyle Hamilton, Evan Neal, not the first tackle taken. 3 tackles in a row right there. So far, it's been pretty chalky, nothing crazy. 2 quarterbacks in the top 11, 3 quarterbacks in the top 12. That's pretty crazy. I could see that happening, though. Quarterbacks will always move up the board. So I am liking what I'm seeing. Trent McDuffie is one guy who I'll be pretty happy with at 17. Obviously, most of the guys who were drafted above here, I would also be happy with, other than the quarterbacks. Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd. I want to say I like Devin Lloyd a little bit more than Nakobe Dean. Just because he is a little bit taller. I want to say he has a little bit longer arms, but I just liked him in coverage a little bit more. But Ahmad Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Trent McDuffie, those are 3 guys who I would be pretty happy with at 17 as well. But let's see who we have here. We have Devin Lloyd, Drake London, Jameson Williams, Kaiir Elam, Bernard Raymond, Chris Olave, Andrew Booth, David Ajabo. So I'm not going to trade back in my first mock draft just because Chargers for their first round pick, I don't think I could see them moving back, even though that's what I would prefer the most probably. Especially in this position, just because once you get past that little tier of blue chip in the first 8-ish picks when they're going to go, it's really a pretty big tier after that. So I would be okay picking near the bottom of that tier, just so that we get the most value. And if we can get a couple of extra later round picks, day 2 or day 3, that would be ideal. But biggest positions of need, I agree with wide receiver, cornerback, defensive interior. I hope that we address in the offseason through free agency, but I would probably add offensive tackle instead of interior. So Devin Lloyd, Drake London, Jameson Williams. Those are probably the 3 that I'm going to have to decide between the most. I do like Andrew Booth a lot as well. It's probably between Drake London, Jameson Williams, and Andrew Booth for me. I would still be happy with Devin Lloyd here, but just, again, whole positions of need thing. First positions of value. Chargers, I guess we don't have Kaiser White, but hopefully we can re-sign him. If we can re-sign him, Kenneth Murray was pretty rough, but just having Kaiser and Drew Tranquill starting for us, we normally only have 2 linebackers on the field. If they can stay healthy, that would be ideal. Obviously, depth would be good, but even if we drafted Devin Lloyd, he might push Drew Tranquill down the depth chart, and he would probably see the field, so I would still be happy with that. But in terms of value, I think Jameson Williams with the ACL, I'm trying to think of when he would be ready. He got hurt in early January, 9 months. So probably right around the beginning, first quarter of the season, he would be ready. Drake London, I really like his, obviously, contested catch, but also his yak. He breaks so many tackles. Just watch his highlights. For a big guy, he has a little bit of shake to him, but guys just bounce off of him for some reason. He's not even that thick. He doesn't have that thick of a lower bottom, or lower half, but he just has really good tackle breaking ability. And then Andrew Booth, he's, I want to say 6 foot or 6'1", but just has the juice or the burst that we really like to see out of corners. Same thing with Asante Samuel, just being able to get in and out of breaks and jump on balls, kind of playing not press and run, but off coverage, and just being able to read and react a little bit better. And he would be a little bit bigger than Asante Samuel. And I could talk about all these guys for a while. Treylon Burks is pretty far down, and I'd prefer to trade back, but if it was me at this position, I think Jameson Williams would bring the most to this offense. He's pretty young, and just watching his tape, you never see anybody make up ground on him. I don't even know what he would have run at the combine, probably sub 4.3, but just when you can watch him play against other SEC teams and you never see anybody make up ground and it just looks effortless, he just glides across the field. Good ball skills. ACL is also not that bad as an injury. Modern day, he'll be able to come back 100%. If it was me drafting here, it would be tough between those 3, but I think I would go Jameson Williams at 17. And it took a while to load there. We got David Ajabo going to the Saints. I like David Ajabo. Freaky athlete off the edge. I want to say he's not that old as well. He might be 21 still. But of the edges in this group, I think he would be one of the better complements to Joey Bosa. Sort of sort of similar to a Melvin Ingram, just freaky athlete. A little bit better, or a little bit more of a speed rusher. Joey's more of a technician, still power, still has good bend. Joey's really all around, but just having that speed option on the other side. With Ajabo, Jordan Davis still went first round. You can watch my other video for my opinion on that. Drake London, Andrew Booth went 25-26. That's why I would like to trade back. A little run of quarterbacks right here. Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis. Malik Willis is definitely going to go first round. He had a pretty good Senior Bowl. Zion Johnson had a monster Senior Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if he went first round. Jermaine Johnson, same thing. Najee Sanders. So let's see who we have. We have a lot of trade offers, but again, I'm probably not going to trade in my first mock draft back. Brian Asamoah had a really good Senior Bowl. But in terms of second round value, Leo Chanel, Javon Brisker, Daniel Falele, he struggled a good amount at the Senior Bowl, but we went receiver last round. Kyler Gordon, I do like him. 6 foot 200, sophomore. Kenneth Walker, no. Jalen Petrie, great Senior Bowl. Jalen Petrie, if he was here if we traded back in the second or in the third, I would be thrilled to get him as like plug and play slot corner. Box, sort of box safety, but mainly just slot corner. I think he could lock down that position for many, many years. Trey McBride, I like, but not here. Second round, see, I really feel like there's a little bit of a tier drop off, but I have to look more into Leo Chanel, Jaquan Brisker. I don't really think so. So it's, for me, really between Kyler Gordon and Daniel Falele. Falele, I mean, he would probably just have to compete with Trey Pipkins for that right tackle spot heading into the year. Dude's a mountain. I'm assuming you guys know who he is. I probably shouldn't. That's why I'm doing this. But he's 6'9", 380 pounds. He's a mountain of a human being. Literally, if he gets his hands on you, you're done. But he did get beat around the edge with some speed rushes a couple times at the Senior Bowl. It's really what he could be. Daniel Falele, so right tackle or future potential starting cornerback. We already got speed receiver for the offense. And I think I like the idea of super loading the offense. I'm going to go Daniel Falele here just because I think a lot of Chargers fans and people are talking about how much we need to address the defense, and I agree for the most part, but I would rather maximize Justin Herbert's potential because I think the value of that is more than providing some extra pieces for Brandon Staley on our defense. Well, I think we can still do that through free agency and the draft. I think using early round draft picks to get people like Jameson Williams and even Daniel Falele, if he's a capable right tackle, just to give Justin Herbert more time, more weapons, I think it would have the potential of being an unstoppable offense, and that's kind of what you need in today's NFL to go far. The Bengals, pretty unstoppable, but I mean, look at right when Joe Burrow got Jamar, I go to LSU, so I like that connection, obviously. But right when Joe got Jamar, they're going to the Super Bowl instead of Joe and Penei Sewell. But we're still getting a right tackle, some protection for Herbert here with Falele. But Bengals did provide a good example of what super loading your offense can look like. They have one of the best wide receiver trios in the NFL and a capable offensive line, but just having guys who can get open and weapons. Oof. We saw Jalen Petrie and Kobe Bryant go right before our pick here. Sky Moore I like, and adding guys who can get open isn't bad, but we have Josh Palmer and Jalen Guyton. Brian Asamoah is still here at linebacker, kind of like. Marcus Jones, I haven't looked a whole lot at his tape. Looks like he adds some punt returner, kick returner. He's 5'8", so probably just a slot guy. I have to read up on him after this. Channing Tindall, Josh Doman, Alec Pierce, Boye Mafe, Jerome Ford. So really the way that this board has fallen, I'm liking Brian Asamoah the most. Sky Moore, dude can separate, but we just have, which is the most important thing that a receiver can do. I just think taking Jameson Williams in the first, we should add something to the defense, whether that's a corner preferably, but just the way that it looks like this board has fallen. Getting Brian Asamoah, who had a very, very good Senior Bowl, 6'1", 228. I want to say Mike Renner in Austin. I don't remember if it was Brian Asamoah, but they were talking about him and comparing him to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from last year, just in terms of size and kind of burst and acceleration, physicality for somebody who's a little bit undersized. So I think adding somebody like that who can still possibly match up with some tight ends, but just a rangy offline or off-ball linebacker in round 3 to just add depth at the position for the way that this board has fallen, I think that's probably where I would go. That is going to wrap up the Chargers portion of this mock draft. Damone Clark, another LSU guy. He didn't have a great year. He's a pretty freaky athlete, but sort of a liability in coverage from what I could see at the games. I'm going to wait and see what the grade given is, but in general, I think I'm going to like going either corner, offensive tackle, or wide receiver in the first round for the Chargers. In a perfect situation, and I'm going to put some of these mock drafts out there, we're going to trade back to, I don't know, mid to late 20s probably, so that we still have a first round draft pick, but I just think we could maximize value in terms of the tier. I feel like that's where it kind of starts to drop off again. So first round, we went Jameson Williams, wide receiver out of Alabama, and they don't have grades here. Second round, we went Daniel Falele, the mammoth tackle out of Minnesota. Third round, we went Brian Asamoah, one of the standouts from the Senior Bowl from Oklahoma. And right here, we're kind of trying to superload the offense for Justin Herbert, add a couple of pieces eventually throughout the draft for Brandon Staley on the defense. But this was just the first initial mock draft just to get some of my initial trade back thoughts on some of the receivers, the tackle class, stuff like that. But leave your guys' comments. You can shred this mock draft if you like, argue with me, do whatever. Like and subscribe, but I will see you guys in the next video.